Fox News Radio. The president with more reaction to the IG report. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. President
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town.
Patrol are looking at, and the local police and the state police don't want to have anything to do with it, and have sent out their well, how would you put it, their people to dispute whatever the VOP is finding, and to cast suspicion on whatever they're doing. And in fact, one of their people or two of their people have been arrested because they were down there and they weren't on the property that they were supposedly trespassing on. But it seems like the establishment and its supporters are panicking because all of this stuff is coming out. Now, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but a lot of people have been talking about how many kids are disappearing, and they're winding up as being well, how would you say it? Organ donors, not willingly, but they're killing them for their organs, and they find out now that one of the things is, and this is kind of horrifying, an organ has to be taken from a living person. It can't come from a cadaver, because it's already shut down if it comes from a cadaver. So those kids are having their organs removed while they're still alive. Now, I don't know if they're using any kind of anesthetic or whatever, but it seems like it's a pretty nasty way to die. And you got to be heartless in order to do this kind of stuff. And on top of that, it seems like that there's these satanic cults that a lot of the politicians and the big shots in the country belong to. And they seem to want to control us and destroy us because under the Agenda 21, if you're not familiar with it, it's the new New World Order's ecological protocol, they want to get rid of between 80 and 90% of all of the people living on Earth. And so they're doing it by poisoning the food, poisoning the vaccinations, and doing all kinds of other things, plus getting people addicted to drugs and using fake memories and so on, and mind control to get people to commit suicide. It's an amazing thing, and we keep electing these same people to the same offices, and we just keep not being aware of what's going on, and thinking that we're safe and free and so on and so forth. And boy, oh boy, that's the farthest thing from the truth. So, folks, you gotta get over your ennui and get out there and get busy and get active and get going. Because if you don't, we're all gonna die pretty soon. So get to it, girls and boys, and let's get this country free again. Stand up behind Mr. Trump, because he's shaking up the establishment and the satanic groups and so on and so forth, and it's really amazing. In fact, I saw it today on the internet, a compilation of all of the histrionics that the left went through when Hillary lost the election. And it was amazing how people can be that stupid as to not understand what kind of a criminal that woman was and what her husband is, and they would still vote for her to be president of these United States and take the country down completely after what Obama has already done. So, just wake up, folks. Get yourself educated and don't believe anything that the government tells you, because it's all, for the most part, a bunch of BS. And it's meant to, it's all propaganda. And not the good kind either. So, there you go. Keep it going. Whatever. Now, as far as the veterans on patrol down in Tucson, it seems that they're got a lot of people shook up, and they're really doing a good job down there. They've got several of the really professional ex-FBI, ex-CIA people, and who are not the Obama holdovers, who are showing them how to secure the sites that they've found and how to preserve the evidence so that they have something that they are going to be able to go after these people down there and find the cartels and the collaborators with the cartels that are in the government in Tucson. We know that the mayor's name down there is Rothschild, and we're not sure yet whether or not he's a relative of the Rothschild family, but with a name like Rothschild, I would imagine that he is. And he probably is a New World Order collaborator, and I'm sure that he's not exactly standing up for the people of Tucson, especially since Tucson is a sanctuary city, and they want to bring in all these kids and so on, and then of course they take the kids out and rape them and do whatever to them and kill them and sell their organs and so on, and boy, it's really a dirty, nasty racket they got going on down there, and it's not just there, it's all across the southern border. So we need that wall. We need to build the wall, and anybody that's in Congress that is not for it is got to be voted out of office. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really happy that Paul Ryan has decided to quit, but he's trying to push his last amnesty thing through. And Trump has already told him that he's not going to sign the bill, which is kind of thrown a shock into some of the moderates in Congress. But that's the way it goes, and we don't need any more moderates. We need to have us stand up for America first, and to protect the American people from whatever the New World Order has in mind for us. Because we're even with our guns, we're not completely safe. The only thing that's going to make us safe is to be involved, get active, open our eyes, open our ears, open our hearts, and stand up for America. America first. And I know that the left is just chomping at the bit to destroy this country for their utopia, their left-leaning utopia. So anyway, you just, we're going to be paying some bills here in a minute, so keep yourself going and stay tuned for more comment by Ron Harditz.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the Search Engine and Digital Marketing Race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hi there. It's Ron Harders with the Chi-Town Expat Show, and I'm back again. Well, it's amazing how corrupt our government is. And now we got the Inspector General's report was released. Was it the last day or so? And they made it, they explained all of the crap that was going on and then said that there was nothing wrong with it. Now, I find that to be absolutely stunning. How can you talk about and show all of these illegal things that they did and got involved with, and then say that everything's okay? And people will believe that? It's ludicrous on its surface, and it's the more you dig into it, the more ridiculous it gets. It's amazing how these people think that the American public, and for the most part, the American public is pretty stupid, considering that they'll believe anything that the government tells them. Well, and then we get all these, like Kanye West talks about how wonderful the president is, and now he's his brother, and so on and so forth, and Kim Kardashian says basically the same thing. And she gets him to pardon that gal who was in prison for 21 years for a nonviolent drug abuse case that happened almost 25 years ago. And still there are black people who are against Trump. He's brought the Black and Hispanic unemployment rate way down, lower than it's been in, 40 years? We have, for the first time, it looks like in at least 8 or 9 years, the gross domestic product is going to be at 5% or maybe even higher. And Obama never got it above 2% or even 2%. The country is reversing itself from the disaster of Obama, and yet the left is still trying to blame Republicans for their mistakes, for their efforts to destroy the country. That's not a mistake. That's a deliberate problem, a deliberate warfare against the country. And it's a shame that we have to put up with it. And then in that same video that I watched the left with their face masks and the bandanas over their faces, and they were rioting and breaking windows and setting stuff on fire and doing all kinds of other things. And the police were standing by and not doing a thing. Now, that to me is, and it's because, and it's primarily in these sanctuary cities where this is happening. And the police have their orders from their boss, from the mayor or from the chief of police, not to do anything, not to aggravate the rioters. Well, but the regular citizens are not safe, and they're being beaten on and their property destroyed and so on and so forth, because the left is employing the same efforts that they did in Russia and Germany and so on when the dictators came to power. So, you know, folks, we really need to stand up and make sure that that these people understand that whatever is going on has got to stop. This is a thing that the first time in this country that a new president has been the effort to discredit and remove him from office before he even started in office. And the constant call for impeachment and so on and so forth that the left is trying to pull off, and trying to blame all of the things that they did wrong onto Mr. Trump and his administration. And all the leaks that go on. This is pure treason. Now, I've been encouraged by the conference between Kim and Trump, and I think Mr. Trump has the right idea, and I think he has the right method to do it. And Mr. Kim understands that his system isn't working, hasn't worked, won't work. And Trump showed him what a real capitalist system looks like and how it can help North Korea and his people and make him probably one of the most respected leaders on earth, instead of someone who has to keep killing his people in order to stay in office. So there is a ray of hope. If we can now defeat the European Union and bring about a change in the attitudes in Europe, and on top of that, we have to change the attitude on the education in this country, because there's where the problem is. And if you look at all these snowflake kids who can't stand anybody else's opinion but the left's, you have to understand that it's time to get the federal government out of the education. And as far as the local education systems, to get people elected to the school boards who are not socialists, who are not teachers, who are business people, who can get things going and do it at a economical way to the taxpayer. If you look at the CAFRs, that's the certified annual financial reports of almost every government agency or school board or whatever in the country, you'll find that they have salted away all kinds of funds, and they're using them as slush funds for whatever they want to do, and they still keep taking taxes from the people. And they've got millions of dollars, billions of dollars invested in all kinds of investments and so on, that keep paying them interest and dividends and so on and so forth. And there's enough there that we could stop paying taxes today and they would still have enough money to keep going forever with no cost to the taxpayer. So but there's too many people filling their pockets illegally or in collusion with the elected officials, and it's time that we got things going and stop these people from raping our pockets any longer. All right, we'll be back. Got some bills to pay, so we'll be back shortly, and see you in a few.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hey there, we're back. Now, I'm not sure whether Tim Horn is here yet or not, but anyway, we're going to take a look. And he was supposed to talk about the national popular vote. And thank God we didn't have the national popular vote that would elect a president in the last election. Otherwise, you would probably have Hillary as the president of the United States. And that would be a continuation of the disaster of Obama. In fact, it might even be worse. Because not only was she an ineffective Secretary of State, but she was a corrupt one, and she is as crooked as the day is long. And her husband is no better. She's the enabler of the sexual harassment husband, and what a absolute pile of crap that guy was. But anyway, the national popular vote, in case you don't know what that is, that's where whoever gets the most votes, forget the fact that the states have an electoral college that the states are using so that the smaller states, the ones that aren't as populated, have almost as much say in who gets elected to the presidency as the big, highly populated states that also engage in voter fraud like crazy. Now, in my opinion, voter fraud is a very harmful practice. And normally it's done by Democrats. And that's how they keep control of these cities like Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore and so on. actually, voter fraud is, my opinion, should be a capital offense. In other words, you engage in voter fraud, you not only go to prison, but you go to the electric chair. And that, I think, would stop most of the voter fraud from happening. But there's just too many sob sisters in the country today for that to happen. It's a shame, too, because the crooks are the ones that are running the country. And if you drop out and don't vote because you don't think that anybody is worth it, then you're part of the problem. So, you got to get involved. You got to get active. You have to find people that are good business people, who are good Americans, who understand that the Christian way of life is the best way to go, that that refugees are really only welcome in the country if they would like to assimilate and become part of our country, become Americans, and not maintain their own identities or religion, or Islam is not a religion, it's an ideology. And it's probably worse than communism or any other one of those religions that you see around, communism and socialism and so on and so forth. So, folks, please get active. Get off the couch. Talk to your friends. Talk to your neighbors. Get educated. Understand that we have to save this country. Is nowhere else to go on the planet. No place else whatsoever. And unless you want to go to Mars and settle a new planet with the ideas of Americanism, just stay uninvolved. And pretty soon there won't be an America that you recognize or that anybody recognizes as the shining beacon on the hill. People came here, lots of people came here. And they came here because it was the best place on earth to go. But then we started letting in all of these criminals, non-Christian refugees, pedophiles, sex slaves, slavers, and so on and so forth. And now we're reaping the rewards of that nonsense. And it's not very nice. And the crime rate is going up and up and up. Just look at the murders in the cities like Chicago and New York and Baltimore and elsewhere. Look at these kids that are shooting up their schools, and so on and so forth, and yet they're clamoring to take away our right of self-defense and leave us vulnerable to all of those criminals that won't give up a gun or if they can't get a gun, they'll use a knife or a shovel or a hammer or something, but they're bound and determined that they're going to kill somebody. So, and whether we have no defense if we have no weapons. And it isn't so much the people that we have to be defending against, but it is our government that we really need to be defending against. Because once the guns are gone, then, believe me, we're not far away from being a Russia under the communists or Germany under the Nazis, or Indonesia under the Muslims. It's going to be a battle royal. And I had a cousin in Germany who said that he got away from having to turn in his weapon because what he did, and he was a big hunter, he buried him in the backyard. Now they didn't have in those days metal detectors where they could go around and find the guns underneath that were buried. So he kept his weapon until the war was over. But believe me, without our weapons, we're just sheep to be led to the slaughter. And I don't know about you, but it's I've lived 82 years, almost 83 now. And so if I go, it's not going to be a big deal. But I've got kids, I've got 3 girls, and I got grandkids. And they've got, and I even have a great-grandchild. And I would want their America to be the kind of America that I grew up in, which was pretty free, although after 1913, that started to be worn away anyway. In fact, after 1871, the United States was no longer the United States. It became the corporation of the United States of America, but not in America as we know it. And then we need to reverse the amendment that allows the senators to be elected popularly within the state. That should be, they should be elected or appointed by the legislature only, as they represent the state and not the people. The people are represented by the representatives in Congress, and they are the ones that are popularly elected within the district that they hopefully live in. And that's not so sure these days anymore anyway. Well, don't know exactly what more to say. It's getting to be I'm sounding kind of repetitive when I keep telling you to get involved. But I don't really have another way to say it. And it's so important. It's so necessary. Not just for yourself, but for your kids and your grandkids. And there's only nowhere else on Earth to go, or in the solar system to go, that we have the freedoms that the Constitution guarantees us. But we have to make sure that we allow that to happen. And we maintain our vigilance against those who would destroy us, kill us all off, and stop America from being the shining beacon on the hill. So we're going to pay some more bills, and then we'll be back for the last segment of the day.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. Chicago.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
41, 31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hi there, we're back for the last segment of the day. And might tell you that it's been very overcast today. We even had some rain. Not enough to make the sidewalk wet, but it certainly was a few drops that came earlier this morning. And it's still overcast pretty well. And the temperature is down in the 90s, which is a real relief from the 105, 106, 108 we've had in the last few days. But the hot temperatures will be back again in a few more days. And it's too bad because this weekend the people who wanted to run in the hottest race in the world were here in Phoenix to run in a 3 or 5 or 6 kilometer race that was going to take place in 110, 115 degree heat. Now, why anybody would want to get out in 115 degrees and run is beyond me, but there are all kinds of nuts in the world. And certainly, that's being one of them. We have people that pass out on the mountains around here when the temperature is only around 100 degrees because they let themselves get dehydrated and don't carry enough water with them, or they overestimate their health and their ability to climb a mountain and walk a trail, so that they wind up getting in trouble. And then they got to be rescued. So I would imagine that the ambulances would be well placed along the race route that they were going to run when it was 110 or 115 degrees. So in these days and in this day and age, and to be disappointed because it's not hot enough, that sounds to me to be a little bit crazy. But who am I to say? In any case, again, just think about this. If you want the world to respect America, then you better stand behind Mr. Trump. Because without him, and unless we elect in this coming election some more real Americans with real American attitudes, and get rid of Democrats and establishment people, we're not going to have an America anymore. Now I see that there was on a trip to Singapore, a missile was fired at Air Force One from a U.S. naval base in Washington. Now, it obviously didn't hit the president's plane, but that's pretty nasty coming from somewhere in the military. Now we know that some of these people who've been promoted and so on and are in charge of things are from the Obama holdovers, and Obama is willing to do anything to destroy this country. This is the first president, ex-president, who hasn't gone quietly away and retired after his presidency is over. He still has a personal army of over 30,000 people that are involved in this organizing, whatever the group is, Organizing for America, OFA, and he's doing his best to destroy Mr. Trump and the administration, and he's got a lot of help from the establishment people in the administration and those Obama holdovers in the federal government, and not only in the federal government, but in local governments also, who can't stand the fact that America is now first in the minds of many. The Europeans are in, they've freeloaded long enough. We've been paying the bills for NATO and for the European Union. The British are finally saw the light and voted to get out of the European Union, and boy, it's just getting terrible. So until next week, and we have as our guest next week, Sam Stone from Sal DiCiccio's office, and he's going to be talking about the light rail on South Central Avenue. So until then, have a good week. Enjoy yourself. This is Ron Harder signing off. Stay tuned for the Chips and Salsa Show.
Chicago, Chicago, I will show
The president with more reaction to the IG report. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. President Trump on Twitter today commenting about the Inspector General's The president with more reaction to the IG report. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. President Trump on Twitter today commenting about the Inspector General's report on the FBI's investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server during the election.
Tweeting, the IG report totally destroys James Comey and all of his minions, including the great lovers, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who started the disgraceful witch hunt against so many innocent people. It will go down as a dark and dangerous period in American history. The IG's report was highly critical of numerous FBI officials, including Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who texted each other that they would not allow candidate Trump to become president. The report did not find any evidence that those biases influenced decisions or actions the Bureau took in the case.
Thanks, it's Garrett Tenney. President Trump also on Twitter blaming Democrats for an immigration policy that separates immigrant parents from their children at the Mexican border. The president wrote that Democrats can fix the forced family breakup by working with Republicans on new legislation.
Administration insiders say that by continuing to enforce this separation policy, the president's